Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Jamie Dawn. I'm your metalhead astrologer. And man, I've got some wild ass hair going on. Welcome, keeping it loud and proud here. And I thought I would bring us a live show with the Lionsgate portal today on 8/8. This is the show that's about feeding the lion and not the ego, clearly. My ego is not here right now with this wild ass hair that I got going on. But hey, throw up the horns. Let's have some loud and proud stuff. We are here to talk about the Lionsgate portal, and it's more than just the astronomical facts of it, because it is 8/8, and this is where mythology and spiritual significance come right into alignment and play. And this is all about the sun is now in Leo, and we have the rising of Sirius, which is the dog star. And ancient Egypt is where this also originated. This energy of the Lionsgate portal is all about, it's a very talked about spiritual event. And whether you see it as an energetic gateway or a symbolic moment of reflection, simply another way of being part of the Leo season, it's asking us the most powerful question of all: who are you when you stop hiding? Right? I mean, who are we? This is about being authentic. What is the Lion's Gate? It is a portal, but do we have the courage? This is Leo. Do we have the courage, the heart, the creativity to step through that portal or cross that threshold, right? This many spiritual traditions also connect this time with new beginnings, creative inspiration, opening to infinite possibilities, personal empowerment, all of those things. And so this isn't about magical shortcuts. This is truly about who has the courage and the heart to be able to walk through that next initiation, if you will, that next portal, that next door. And initiations, they're not easy, you know. What they do, what is an initiation? It's an experience that stirs something inside of us, that transforms something inside of us, that invites greater awareness if we're willing to do the work. And it also gives us a chance to be able to say, I'm transformed, I'm changed from how I once was, right? And so this is definitely a time for us to be able to look at ourselves in a much bigger way. So, also, let's talk about this from that metalhead perspective, because you guys know this is the metalhead astrology. And metals always celebrated the lion, not because lions are necessarily loud, but because they know who they are. And great metal musicians don't apologize. They own their identity. And this is all about being authentic and unapologetically who we are, right? Because Leo says, what wants to really shine? Where's our gifts that have been kept under that bushel? If anybody knows that song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine. Yeah, it's that. And we're being asked, where are we playing it too small? I was talking to somebody the other day about how they were using their voice or not using their voice, and we're kind of coaching through it on a because they were working on interview, that sort of thing, and and they said, I don't understand why I've downplayed myself. And I said, look, I said, I don't want to take this away from the masculine, but as women, especially us growing up in the generations that we did, we were taught to be the good girl, to be seen and not heard, and all of that. And so we kept our voice small. And also, it was rude to walk into a room and command it or to take over. Women just didn't do that sort of thing. And so it shows up in so many different ways. And this individual who's applying for an executive role, she was saying to me, I don't understand why I'm being so apologetic about the roles I've done, or I'm not tooting my own horn. And it's a conditioned tendency. And so that's what we're working with this Lionsgate portal, is to be able to say, you know what, no more hiding. And yes, my voice matters, and I'm going to share it, and I'm going to be who I am. Now, granted, every sign has a shadow, right? And there's light and shadow to everything. And so, with this Lionsgate portal in Leo, is that we might find ourselves looking for more validation or reassurance. Maybe our pride is taking over. And I don't mean pride is in our pack, I mean pride is in our ego. We got to watch out for that. Or maybe we want more applause and we're looking for a purpose. We're doing things because we're looking for the attention instead of doing it because it's what our heart is driven to do. And so that's the kind of things that we're looking for. The other thing I would say is one question to really tickle out for us. Where are we waiting for permission? Where are we waiting for permission? Do we have the courage to be ourselves, to do the things that we're meant to do? What would it look like if we had no excuses, if we had no fears, if we had no reservations about whatever it is that we're holding ourselves back from? This is the time to do it. So, the other thing I want to offer is that um, I want to offer some mythology as well as the symbolism with this Lionsgate portal for you, just to kind of have a little bit of fun, a little bit of factual things. So, Leo and the Nemean lion from Greek mythology come together, and this is where Hercules, who love Hercules and the stories of Hercules, Leo, the Nemean lion, was one of Hercules' greatest challenges. Then we take the symbolism of Sirius, the dog star, which is all about the rising of the Nile and how it would flood in Egypt, and it became very fertile, and there was this renewal time. And many of you are talking about and sharing about the quote unquote ascension symptoms that come along with that, the intensity around it, maybe feeling lightheaded or sleeping a lot or woozy, or even, that summer cold feeling. And that often can happen. But let's talk about, I want to just share when you hear Lionsgate and you imagine some mystical doorway opening. Now we go through this portal, if you will, where we're talking about um, mythology and we walk ourselves back into ancient Greece, right? And long, long before Leo became a zodiac sign, the Greeks told the story of the Nemean lion. And it wasn't an ordinary lion. This was enormous, and you couldn't pierce its hide with arrows or with swords or spears or anything. Nothing could kill it, and it would go around terrorizing the villages, and everyone tried to destroy it but failed. Well, here comes the hero Hercules, and he was given 12 impossible labors, and one of the labors was, and it was his first one, was the Nemean lion. And he quickly discovered that every weapon failed. All the arrows bounced off, the sword broke, the club splintered, all these things and ways in which he tried to overcome this lion. And how many times do we try to solve our own inner struggles using the same strategies that we created them with, right? And so, what do we have to do? Just like with Hercules, we have to drop our weapons, go into the caves, go into the deep, deep of ourselves. Anybody who's seen the Odyssey recently knows that this is the journey of the psyche, the journey of the soul. But, anyways, we're going deep into the cave and we're wrestling the lion, just like Hercules did with his bare hands, not with because necessarily brute force is better, but the challenge required something different, a new way of engaging. And that our fears, and this is very symbolic for us, our fears aren't conquered from a distance, they have to be faced directly. What is it that we are hiding or that we are afraid to give ourselves permission to do? Yeah. So we're looking at these challenges that seem to be invincible, and we have to find new strategies to be able to face, and we have to face them head on, right? Then let's talk about Sirius, the dog star. So now we're traveling from Greece to Egypt, and they're very connected. At Nine Gates Mystery School, the Egyptian mystery schools were based off of, or the Greek schools and Egyptian schools were ran in tandem, and they were based off of each other. And so let's travel now to ancient Egypt, thousands of years before modern astrology. Even though I will tell you, I went into the Temple of Venus, and there is a zodiac wheel on the ceiling inside one piece of the temple. It was phenomenal. I have a picture. Maybe I'll post it one of these days. But here we are, ancient Egypt, Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. And after disappearing from view for a period each year, Sirius would then reappear before sunrise. And it was called the helical rising. And so for ancient Egypt, this wasn't just an observation. This became a marker of profound change. And I also want to note that here we are at this Lionsgate portal with an eclipse happening, a new moon eclipse, which is next week. So Sirius Dog Star became associated with renewal, fertility, abundance, new beginnings, hope after hardship. And so these are the things that we're looking at. Imagine living in a world that had no calendars or survival depended on reading the sky. So the return of Sirius wasn't just beautiful, it meant that life was about to flourish again. The Nile was going to rise. There was going to be flooding so that all of the soil would become fertile. Yeah. So the Lionsgate portal now, when we look at it, now we're walking through the next portal and we're here in this present moment. And the sun is traveling through Leo. And we've got the number 88, which we know in numerology, 8 is a spiritual number and it's about abundance and power. And so we're working with all of this energy of what is it that needs to emerge. 8 is associated with that renewal. It's infinity when you turn it sideways, right? That cycles continue instead of end. This is a magical time. So let's use this time. This is what I wanted to offer to you live. I appreciate anybody who is watching and giving a shout out here, and I'll make sure to post this later. But remember that Hercules didn't become a legend because he didn't meet his monsters. He became a legend because he walked into the cave. He faced his fear. How many times do we know that courage requires us to face our fears, to feel fear, and still take the action? We're not going to apologize for taking up space. We're not going to ask permission to be our authentic selves. We're going to keep our hearts open, and we're going to, just as I like to say for this metalhead astrology, we're going to stay heavy. So, one of the things I will also invite you to stay with me and explore is I'm going to be doing some of these shows based on the signs. So, we'll do Metalhead by Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Gemini, all that. So, yeah, stay tuned for more of those. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys some good information to be able to use during this time. Do a ritual of some sort. There's lots of ways in which you can honor this time um, and allow yourselves uh, to say, what is it that I'm ready to leave behind? I know someone, a dear friend and a powerful lady who does ceremony regularly, and she did a fire ceremony. This is a great time to do a fire ceremony, especially because we're working with the fire sign of Leo. Light a candle, listen to your favorite metal song, feel your heartbeat. Remember, it's all about the heart. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's being authentic and choosing it and taking that action. So, those are the kind of things that we want to be doing. All right, you guys, I hope that this gives you some good pieces of information. Stay loud, stay proud, stay heavy. See you guys soon.